To begin with, we'll help you buy your first home sooner. We'll get you to a down payment faster with a plan worth tens of thousands of dollars when you buy your first home, and the launch of a new rent-to-own program. At the same time, we'll crack down on the predatory speculators that stack the deck against you.
Now, Trudeau spoke more about his housing plan and the situation in Afghanistan when he took questions from reporters. Let's listen.
Good morning, Prime Minister. Your announcement today revives and looks at expanding some of the programs you already have under the National Housing Strategy. So given that the National Housing Strategy, the four-year-old strategy, was supposed to deal with some of these things, here we are today still talking about affordability and the cost of housing. How is this not an admission that the National Housing Strategy, as you have designed it, has been a failure?
On the contrary, over the past number of years, hundreds of thousands of families have gotten new homes, have a safer place to live. We've cut down on chronic homelessness because of the National Housing Strategy we launched in 2017. But let's remember, in 2015, 2017, as we launched that National Housing Strategy, we were starting from a standing start. Because for the previous 10 years, a Conservative government decided the federal government had no role to play in housing. That is wrong. That's why we stepped up and saw tremendous improvements in supporting people to get housing over the past number of years. But absolutely, there is more to do, much more to do. And that's why the choice in this election is so clear for Canadians. We're putting forward an extremely ambitious plan that is going to continue to get people not just into homes, but help them buy those homes. And that is something that is a choice that Canadians get to make. Because the Conservatives' approach on housing, it's about giving tax breaks to people who are already wealthy. Our focus is on getting young families like Aklima and Paul across this country the opportunity to buy their first home. Effectivement, ça fait plusieurs années qu'on travaille
for several years we've worked on fighting the housing crisis. With the program we had, we saw hundreds of thousands of families get into a new home. But the reality is that 2017, 2015, we began with a lot of delay fighting the housing crisis because Stephen Harper's Conservative government for 10 years wanted nothing to do with housing. So yes, we did enormous work in the past years, but we need to do more, to have an even more ambitious plan to help people become property owners. We want to put a very clear choice forward for Canadians with an even more ambitious plan, because it is the time to invest even more to make sure all Canadians have access to property ownership.
When you're talking about enforcing some of these issues in the plan, as you point out, does that mean you're going to throw real estate agents in jail?
I think the federal government has a number of tools that we can use to ensure that people's rights are respected. It's not fair that issues like blind bidding are so heartbreaking for so many families who see it almost impossible to get a new home. That the deck seems stacked against people and has for an awfully long time. We are going to use the tools we need to prevent predatory speculatory practices. We're going to make sure we're protecting people's rights, making sure we're supporting them with tens of thousands of dollars in our plan to make sure people can afford that first home, which isn't just about getting into a first home. It's about setting up the rest of their life and their family and their retirement for success early on. Nous avons bien des outils au niveau du gouvernement fédéral.
We have many tools at the federal government level to make sure people are protected. It's not just stopping those predatory practices that are so toxic and harmful to families trying to get into their first home, but we'll make sure they're protected at the same time by investing billions of dollars and tens of thousands of dollars to help families get to their first home. Next question. I wanted to go back to what the young man was screaming earlier. You've had 6 years to act. You're talking to a couple today that are victims to this kind of predatory housing. Is it too late? The problem has been there for a long time. We know that housing and ownership particularly is becoming less and less affordable for families. We've done enormous work to invest in families and housing, and here is a moment now as we approach the end of the pandemic, and we're thinking truly on how we can apply housing lessons learned as we found out how important it was during the pandemic. So this time we'll have even more ambition. And people like that young man should have a choice to make. A choice between an ambitious plan for families with a liberal government, the nice words of the NDP, or the conservative approach that gives money to the most wealthy.
One of the things that we've seen is, even with everything we've done, in the tens of billions of dollars we've invested with the National Housing Strategy that has resulted in hundreds of thousands of people accessing better homes and newer homes, there is much more to do. And that's why this moment is so important, why that young man, like families across this country, are facing a really important choice. Do we move forward with a plan that is even more ambitious? Because if there's anything this pandemic has taught us, it is that home is a really important investment, a really important place for people to feel safe, to be able to build their future. And it's still inaccessible for far too many people. So we've put a heavily ambitious plan out that is going to support millions of Canadians get into new and refurbished and renovated homes over the coming years, versus a plan by the Conservatives that focuses on giving tax breaks to people who are already wealthy. That's their housing plan. Or the NDP, who always talk a good game but never actually have the concrete plan to deliver the housing that Canadians need. The choice is clear in this election. Do we be even more ambitious and move forward, or do we see someone take Canada back? That's not what we want, and that's what we're standing for today.
En suivi.